Hey y'all, so if you're in a space where you're dealing with a tough situation, dealing with something that is tumultuous and you're feeling guilt around the way that you're feeling guilt around why you feel the way you feel because you know you're supposed to be leaning on God. We had a sermon today in church that was all about how guilt is, and there is some school of thought around if you have guilt, then you don't have faith. And the sermon was just amazing in the comments, but we sang a song before the sermon started, and it was talking about how the joy of the Lord is our strength. And I thought, what a fitting title to a song and lyric in a song. But why is that so hard for us to enact and then utilize as our strength? And why would joy keep us strong? And so then really sat with that because I've told you about the book Bring the Joy, where the author of the book had lost her child and she was talking about finding joy even in those what seemed like worst moments of her life. And so when I was thinking about why joy brings us strength, it made me think about how we misconstrue joy with happiness. And happiness is a fleeting emotion, right? Happiness is when some circumstance happens or something around us is affecting us in such a way that we feel happy and that we carry with us in those spaces. But joy isn't the same thing because joy is the ability to be able to feel that sense of contentment and that sense of knowing that whatever is going on is for the greater good, regardless of what the circumstances are. And when you're dealing with, a diagnosis that you're devastated about, when you're dealing with a loss, when you're dealing with God telling you no to something that you so very badly want, it's really difficult to try to understand how you could be happy in that moment because happy is a fleeting emotion and you don't have to be happy in that moment. But having joy in the fact that God loves us and God has a plan for us, and even when that plan involves the worst of things, we will never in our human brains be able to the things he does or allows the things that he allows. But the joy is found in our spiritual connection to him and our understanding that he loves us so much. And even when the plan doesn't feel good, he's still a good, good God. And so, how do we allow joy to be our strength? Well, it's understanding that happiness is only rooted in the blessings. So when you feel happy, it's because you feel like you've received a blessing. And this is why I really don't like the idea of people counting their blessings. Or I think people have a very tainted perspective of what a blessing is because sometimes the blessing is losing something. Sometimes the blessing is heartbreak. And we don't ever talk about those blessings. God blessed me with a financial gain. We talk about that all day. God blessed me with a beautiful marriage. We talk about that all day. But if your financial gain came from a loss before, wasn't the loss part of the blessing too? And if your wonderful marriage came from a loss or a divorce before, wasn't that divorce also a blessing? And we don't really look at it that way because we think the bad things can't be a blessing because in our brain it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense in the human brain, sense in God's plan and in an omniscient brain, in an omniscient perspective. And so if happiness is only rooted in the blessings, but you only see blessings in the good things, then happiness is very fleeting because it's only when those on top of the world feelings happen. It's like the highlight reels on Instagram, right? And the other thing about happiness is that happiness is externally focused. So something happens outside of me, and so now I'm happy. Something happened in my circumstance, something happened in my situation, something happened to someone that I love or care about, and all of these are all good things, but it's externally focused. So that's why it's so fleeting, because when those external things stop happening or the novelty wears off, then so does the happiness. And because we know that happiness is fleeting and that it comes and goes and it's based on circumstances and the things that we consider blessings, but we know that joy is not the same thing as happiness, then what does it look like to find joy as our strength inside of the things that are happening inside of our lives, even when they feel like the worst? This one is joy is a sustaining way of being. So we said happiness is fleeting, but joy is a sustained way of being. It is saying that in spite of what's happening to me, through me, and with me, that I'm going to count it joy. And this is not on some toxic negativity. It doesn't mean that you can't be sad while you're also counting it joy. It doesn't mean that you can't be frustrated even though you're counting it joy. It doesn't mean that you can't be disappointed or devastated even though you're counting it joy. Both of these things can, but finding joy is a sustaining way of being. It's saying, in spite of my frustration, in spite of my anger, in spite of my sadness, I'm going to find joy in the Lord that I serve because I know that He is good. And the second one is that joy considers all circumstances and you can still find it. So happiness, you're not going to find that in great heartbreak. But joy can still be found, and even in all circumstances, it's still there because the joy is beyond the circumstance. The joy is in the trust and the faith and the knowing circumstance exists, that God will still carry you. That even though the circumstance exists, that you have God to lean on. That even though those circumstances exist, that God has a good and perfect plan for you because you love Him. And the last one is that joy is, we said that happiness is externally focused, but joy is Him focused. It's saying that, I don't need anything outside of me to make me feel joy because I have joy in my heart for the love that God has for me. I have joy in my heart for the life that God has given me. Joy comes from a place of understanding that nothing is promised or deserved by me. Happiness comes from a bit of a place of entitlement. Like I'm entitled to this good, my happiness, but joy says, I didn't deserve this good thing. And everything that's done every single day is a blessing because I don't deserve any of these things. I'm not owed any of these things, but I have joy in the knowing that He has a perfect plan for me. And why does that joy give us strength? It gives us strength because it gives us a place to be rooted. It gives us strength because it says that no matter what, my home base is going to be understanding the joy that God has enacted in me. It says that no matter who does what or who leaves or who stays, if only the only thing I have left is God. That's not an only, it's an every. He's the everything that I need because I can find joy in the fact that though He's left me alone in the wilderness, that I'm closer to Him in the wilderness, and in the wilderness is when He's going to teach me my greatest lessons to go do what I need to do and to go be who I need to be, and the things that are for me will come as a result of that. So if you're experiencing a great heart day, I'm not saying you have to be happy about it, but I'm saying that there's strength in finding the joy through your tears, joy through your frustration. There's strength even in whether you're frustrated with God or not, whether you're saying, why me? Why would you do this to my situation or my circumstance? You can still at the same time say, I don't know why you're doing this, but I trust that your plan is good. And I really, really encourage you, if you're unable to do this and you need somebody to help guide you through, certainly reach out to me on all social media sites. Follow me, like and subscribe to this channel. But don't do this alone because it's really difficult to try to find the joy when you can't even find God. It's really difficult to try to find the joy when you just need walk you through it, but you're trying to do it alone. So today I would encourage you, don't look for the happiness. Happiness is great to feel, full emotion, but it's also fleeting. Today I encourage you to find the joy. Find the joy in regardless of the circumstance, and the joy in knowing that He's a good God and that He loves you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.